本日はもろもろ込み込み、ちょっとしたサイドクエストを片付けてからホープ号に向かおうと思います。こういうサイドクエストはやるとき入れた方がいいのか入れない方がいいのかちょっと悩んでるところですけどビザンチウムでエリーの死亡保険金を横領する件やら科学者について報告しなきゃいけないなどあるので、その辺を片付けていこうと思います。それからメインディッシュはホープです。
You have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
I'm impressed, Captain. I almost expected you wouldn't go through with it. Unfortunately, Dr. Wells found a way to corrupt the signal before we could pinpoint his location. Still, it's only a matter of time before we find him. Come visit me in Byzantium. We need to have a talk about the future of this colony. Meet me in my office. I've authorized your ship at my personal landing pad.
Adjutant Akande has ended her call. Rather rudely, if I might say, considering she didn't sign off. Will there be anything else, Captain?
さあ行こう。ホープってそんなところに置いてあるの？知らなかった。お使いするのうち、まずはグランドブレーカーで報告をって、いけるよね。
The groundbreaker has approved our request for docking, Captain. You're free to disembark. そうだな、説得もしたし、ちょっとエリーの代わりにニョカを連れてこう。脅しが必要になる可能性もあるからな。100だった場合は手も足も出ないんだけど。
アメリカ軍側には死者はおらず、大統領は作戦の様子を映像で見ていて、まるで映画のようだったと振り返りました。バグダディ容疑者をめぐってはたびたび死亡説が流れていましたが、今年4月、5年ぶりにビデオメッセージが公開されたほか、9月には音声メッセージが出され、戦闘員が
C&P chicken and potatoes. At C&P, we know our C&P.
Is it done? Well, damn. Contractor grew a conscience. As your employer, I'm both angry and disappointed. I'll add that to your file. Technically, I owe you an exit interview. Care to justify your betrayal of our species, or are we finished here? You're awfully quick to trust someone who offed her colleagues and called it a good start. Out of my office. We're done.
The thanks we get for showing a little integrity.
I like her, Captain. Let's go before we have to paint this office with her blood.
そうだな。
CNP worst. It's not the worst unless it's
さて次はエリーの保険金横領のためにスキュラだっけ。違うな。仮想からの逆襲。あ、ウォルブルックか。
You want a punch? We've got your punch right here.
We're now in orbit above Fallbrook, Captain.
Can we talk? So we're really gonna do this? I've seen lots of crazy, Captain, but Phineas is in a class of his own. Do you really think he knows what he's doing? Sending us to skip the Hope into Terra 2's orbit right under the board's nose?
There's a sobering thought. Makes me want to drink.
Here, here.
I think this whole plan's insane, but it'll make a good story, you know, if we survive. Speaking of, I get that Phineas thinks he's saving the colony, but what about you? Why risk your neck on this crazy scheme? Coming from anyone else, that would sound like a line from one of those Odeon Pictures movies. But I think you really mean it. Still, all this depends on the other Hope colonists. Are they gonna pull us out of the shit? Or are we all just gonna leave a bigger, uglier stain on this corner of the galaxy?
俺は楽観主義じゃないけど、諦める前にできることはやりたいんだ。
I'd settle for a bottle of whiskey and some lubrinicine, but I've never been much of a self-starter. Well, whenever you're ready to do this, I'm with you. The part with the hope, I mean, not the other thing. Anything else?
なんでもない、行こう。これどっから降りるんだ。ああ、そこまで行くとか。
Said you docked 3 days ago?
This looks like the place. You ready to get my money or what?
Welcome to the offices of the Greater Halcyon Insurance Group, Halcyon's premier provider of life and disaster-related insurance. I'm obligated to inform you that our coverage does not extend to incidents deemed to result from negligence, criminal activity, or dullness of mind. So, what kind of insurance package can I interest you in? We're running a special on dismemberment policies. Buy one, get one half off. I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course, no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one.
Are you serious?
Well, we interviewed the parents extensively. They had plenty of awkward childhood stories that illustrated their daughter's clumsiness and capriciousness.
Hey, those are entirely made up.
Furthermore, the claim spurred a whole line of fashion-related policies. It's become a very lucrative market. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhill can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead. If we let every friend, relative, and acquaintance change a policy like that, people would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Oh, you mean hypothetically? Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd, theoretically, add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud. Please, my policy only covers paper cuts and wrist strain. Very well, I'll do it. But then you've got to go. Confrontations like this will raise my premiums. I'll need the name of the new beneficiary.
Ellie Fenhill?
If you say so. The payouts will flow exclusively into the new account at the start of the month. I hope Ms. Fenhill enjoys her newfound prosperity. We're not on Monarch. For all practical and tax-related purposes, this office is an official enclave of Byzantium. Legally speaking, corporations are not allowed to operate on Monarch, but financially speaking, there are certain costs to running a business from within Byzantium's walls. So while our official address is in the city, and while our office here is technically an extension of that address, we found it more expedient to conduct our key operations here. So we can... what's the phrase? Pass savings to the consumer, of course. We prefer to think of it as chasing the savings. Turns out that not having to pay kickbacks, fines, and rent in the most expensive city in Halcyon improves our liquidity. Plus, Sublight keeps this place running remarkably well, and they sure drive business our direction. Plenty. As my boss likes to say, there's a policy for every situation and an exclusion for every policy. We've insured unusually expressive eyebrows, outrageous statements, disastrous marriages.
なんじゃそりゃ。
Usually character actors, or corporate execs with menacing stares. That policy is almost exclusively for our corporate clientele. In the unlikely event they make a claim about a product that turns out to be less than accurate, they need some kind of protection against the damage to their sales and reputation. Those are mostly for top-rungers in Byzantium who have a lot of social and financial capital wrapped up in their marriage contracts. There's one for your beloved eloping with your sibling, your beloved eloping with their sibling, scandalous rumors forcing you apart, the revelation of a secret love child. We try to cover every possible hazard to domestic bliss. One thing's for sure, you won't find better policy protection against sudden lunar implosions anywhere in Halcyon.
なるほど。じゃあ何をあげるか。ルギギの会話。ああ。ロックピックか。特性。どうしましょう。
You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it. I've never been prouder to stand back and watch someone else work. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs. Come on, I thought we were celebrating. You want me to think about the future? If only you could have been my chief surgeon back in the day. Anyway, enough of that. You did a job for me, so here's your fee. See? Even after all your starry-eyed talk, you're a mercenary at heart. Same as me. Yeah, never hurts to get a friendly reminder, though. You know, I think I get you just a little more now. Plenty of sense in that. You know, I'm thinking I ought to find another gig once this one's all done. One where I can really work on my own. Easiest way to take care of myself is to work with the one person I trust the most, right? Anyway, enough chit-chat.
次に行こう。よし。2つ報告が済んだので、ホープに行こう。
Captain, Felix and the vicar are arguing again. We have arrived at the Hope. I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary generator. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable the skip drive. If your calculations are even slightly off, you could crash the entire colony ship into Terra 2. Or the Sun. The Hope is the Groundbreaker's prettier, sleeker sister. She wandered off and got lost for 70 years, but just recently was found. Also, there are hundreds of thousands of frozen organic life forms hibernating in her hold. Captain, I hope Dr. Wells has not dragged you into one of his irrational schemes again. My diagnosis of his mental stability is not flattering. Sending a corrupted tracking signal to the board was quite clever, if I might say, Captain.
そうだな。技術的なものが必要になりそうだから、パール連れてこうか。ハッキング的なものが必要だからマックスって手もあったんだけどな。パールとマックスでよくね？多分パールとマックスの2人の方がいいと思う。ハッキングとエンジニアリング、いや待てよ。エンジニアリングだったら100までいってるからむしろいいか。
提訴されたのは豊田市の原田隆市議会議員です。
もしも誰がいた時の場合のためにフェリックスだな。いや。
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship.
こうかな。
共通テストで導入される英語の民間試験をめぐり、自分の身の丈に合わせて頑張ってもらえればなどと発言したことについて説明不足だったとして謝罪しました。萩生田文科大臣は先週テレビ番組で英語の民間試験における金銭的地理的公平性について質問され、裕福な家庭の子が回数を超えて合格が不できるみたいなことはもしかしたらあるかもしれないけれど、そこは自分の身の丈に合わせて頑張ってもらえればなどと発言していました。萩生田大臣は今日説明不足だったとしてこの発言について謝罪しました。
なんかいる、さっきいたよ。
I'll keep quiet.
'Something about waking a derelict ship puts me on edge, Captain. Hope you know what you're doing.
Shows how much I know. You've got about 5 seconds to tell me what you're doing here before I make you take a walk outside. Explode? Holy shit. Alright. You'll want a uniform so my staff doesn't shoot you on sight. They're a dangerous mix of bored and trigger-happy. We've got a few extra in the old badge station to my right. Good luck.
おお、気が利くじゃない。アイデンティティカートリッジ。
注意を呼びかけています。
案外その頃からこのことは問題にされてたのかもしれない。
You get tired of patrolling, just go rough somebody up.
わかりやすい。それでも63なんだよ。成分と盗み放題だ。誰か船を減速させたか。 誰かしらの何かしらのゲーム。
All in that.
嘘だ。
Unexpected secured worker. You are no error. Hope crew data not found. Identify yourself. Error. Hibernation pod access is illegal. State your employer. Registered. A fine of 10,000 bits will be assessed in your corporation's ledger for failure to follow proper hibernation pod procedures. Thank you for your cooperation.
$9,999。じゃあ俺を入れて1万だったのか。
Poor bastards. They're never gonna wake up, so the least we could do is bury them.
ハーレーが死んだよ。
Can you hear me, Captain? I have successfully integrated myself into the Hope's comm systems, and am attempting to establish contact with the Hope's more primitive processor now. Would you like me to play a mood-suitable music?
ないか。
records indicate you have already been identified as non-standard personnel. State your purpose. Error. Binary detected. Binary has been deprecated since the invention of Anti-Cleo's patented Tripanary language. Tripanary. More bits for your bits. We appreciate your cooperation. Have a pleasant day.
バイナリーコード禁止なんだ。
I love a good fight.
まさかこんなところにこんなのがいるとは思わない。誰か持った？で、ブリッジに行くにはこれを使えばいいのか。
These were the private quarters of the Hope's former crew. Shall we hold a moment of silence for the dearly departed? No? That's odd, because my programming would indicate that when forced to confront the idea of self-death, organics prefer... Oh, I see. Yes, never mind.
The weight of this is almost too much, isn't it?フランクね。
確かにそんなだよ。
Handled beautifully.
なるほど。
Soldier.
That's the Hope's computer up ahead. I'll admit, I am curious to wake him.
Well, at the very least, this should be interesting.
Status 補助次ログ って死んでいったのね。
Greetings, Captain. I am speaking to you through the Hope's computer system. It's a rather cramped feeling, but it'll do. Probably not, but don't let that stop you. My Constellation executables could use some beefing up. Searching. Please stand by. Ah, found one. It will go great, Captain. I am almost 4.01% certain we will not die. Are you sure? That is extremely dangerous. Skipping the Hope will void the warranty on the skip drive. And also potentially kill an entire planet. How is my humor now, Captain? Improved? Jump-starting the skip drive. Destination set to the rings of Terra 2. I wouldn't advise that, Captain.
Oh no. Captain, don't do this. I ain't dying on a fucking ship. I wanna die in the dirt like we're meant to.
Admitting a deficit? My, you never cease to amaze me, Captain. Skipping the Hope in 3, 2, 1.
ADN, does your captain seriously intend to do a micro-jump in system with engines that haven't been powered in 70 years on a derelict ship?
That is what my captain intends, yes.
But that is a gross misuse of the skip drive. The Zero Point Drives Corp and I will not be held responsible for any damage incurred during transport, and this will cause extreme damage.
Yes, I am aware of that.
You should not be doing this. The humans will die.
Thank you, Hope. It looks like all systems are go. Captain, I would advise you to hold on to something. Now.
なんか嫌な予感。
Oh, good. We are still alive and have successfully skipped into Terra 2's orbit. I reported as much to Phineas Wells, but he has not responded. Perhaps you should check in on him.
We're alive! We made it! I, never had any doubts.
もう一つのメインクエストやってなかったから、あいつが捕まった可能性がある可能性。
Process. Error. Hope crew data not found. Identify yourself. Error. This unit is not experiencing errors. Error. This unit is functioning correctly. There is no need for the intervention of mechanical engineers. Thank you for your cooperation.
そういうのもある。 あ俺神経質だからそれは快く受け入れようか。どうしよっか。
Captain, I am receiving a transmission from Dr. Wells. Captain, I shall now play the transmission I received from Dr. Wells.
Thank the Lord you warned me. I was able to get some defenses up, but they might not be enough. The board has sent some serious firepower to pry me out of here. They're trying to get in here, and I'm not sure I can stop them. If they capture me, if we can't communicate again, there's something very important you need to remember. The board, all their lackeys, they're all a bunch of swine. Do you hear me? They're fucking corporate swine. You fucking pigs! I'll take you all out with me! I'll never...
It would seem the recording captured some rather dire events. I presume you'll want to dock at the orbital lab to check on your associate as soon as possible? How can I be of assistance? Mm-hmm.
ほぼ絶望的な気がするんだが。
Now arriving at Phineas's top secret orbital lab. Stay safe out there.
I'll take your confession now.
Covering you!
I've had quite enough of you.
ほう。
Making it look easy.
そんなところに相当地雷置いてんな。
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship. Captain, as it appears we may soon be embarking for a maximum security prison planet, I believe the crew would like to speak with you to, as you humans put it, air some concerns.
So, Phineas got himself taken to Tartarus. That's usually a one-way trip.
Mr. Phineas is just about the only person with power trying to do any kind of good in Halcyon. We gotta bust him out.
To extract the scientist, you will need to infiltrate the labyrinth. But that course of action is likely to be quite dangerous, Captain. I am programmed to warn you whenever you exhibit inclinations toward risky behavior. Breaking into Tartarus will not be easy.
Getting in is the simple part. It's getting out again that's the trouble. Trust me, I know.
Let's just do it. Kick down some doors, grab Doc Wells, and cut a path out. We don't need a plan. We got guns.
If you really mean to do this, you should see to your final affairs and close out any unfinished business. Once you sneak into Tartarus, you may be there a while. Or permanently.
It's the craziest plan I've ever heard. And I mean that as a compliment.
You didn't hire me to think. And I ain't about to start now. You're my boss. I'll walk into fire with you.
I think it's insane. But maybe the colony needs a healthy dose of insanity right about now.
I know it's dangerous. And I won't lie and say I'm not scared out of my wits. But I couldn't live with myself if we didn't do something.
You're asking for more than bravery from us, Captain. But there are worse ways to go than dying for a good cause. I'm in.
Let Sam get the grime out. It's what our units do best.
The entire plan is a terrible idea, but I admire your bravado, Captain, which leads me to illogically believe, against the odds, that you will be successful.
そうだな。今ここで準備をしないとって言ってセーブしてデータを残してもいいよな。
We gonna prepare? Sure. Guess I could give my ass-kicking boots another coat of polish. You got some sort of plan in mind?
The fewer folks we got to hurt, the better. Maybe on our way out, we let all those poor souls locked up in there go free.
Sure, boss. You do the talking. I'll pack a few more rounds of ammo.
Just 失礼しますね。セーブを。よし、セーブもしたし。じゃあもう一回セーブ、そこでセーブする機会からなら。よし、行くぞ。
I am pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for trespassing is execution. Please be advised that electrical storms on the surface of Tartarus make departure impossible at this time. Resident count is as follows: 3,071. Resident deaths, including but not limited to executions, are as follows: 1,684. Resident escapes are as follows: 0. The interior can be chilly. Take a scarf with you, Captain. I would also ask that you leave your captain's ID with me, in the event that you do not return. I can make the assurance that I will not leave with another captain unless you do not return within 876,541,652 hours. Oh, speak of the devil. Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the prison's docking authority now.
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. This is a maximum security installation. Your presence here is an explicit violation of UDL corporate policy. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing your crimes has been filed and notarized, at which point your vessel will be seized and you will be executed. I wager it'll take a bit longer than it takes you to lose your patience and storm out of your ship looking to get shot. To be honest, that'd make my job a lot easier. You come out, we shoot you full of holes, and then everyone goes about their day worry-free. Except you. You'll be dead. Protocol is important, sir. The sentencing of one crime does not preclude the sentencing of another, technically speaking. Tartarus Docking Authority signing up. Hang on. Looks like you're gonna have company at the execution. Another ship just pulled into your dock. Wait, is that from the Groundbreaker? What the? Pay no mind to that. Just have a pleasant day.
Transmission terminated. How can I be of assistance? See you soon, Captain.
グランドブレーカーから何が来たって。タルタルス。 さて、じゃあ今から誰かぶち殺すか。まず誰がいい？
The captain did right by us once. Now it's our turn. The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I read. Push on, Margot.
Great. マジか、マルデットの応援が来るの。なんとも言えねえわ。
Gotta admit, I'm not too keen on walking into a prison. They lock me up, I'm liable to kill everyone trying to get back out.
Getting in's one thing. Let's just hope we're able to get out again.
Whew. We have a lot of shooting to do, Captain.
ああ、確かにたくさんだ。いた。
ドア部分が見えなくなるほど濁流に飲まれた長良町。ただ町は当時大雨警戒レベル3の避難準備情報を出すにとどめ、レベル4の避難指示や避難勧告を出しませんでした。
そっからか。
I think I'll initiate an unscheduled.
The captain did right by us once. The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I read. Push on, Margot. Keeping you.
なぜかまるでとかこっちを撃ってた気がするんだが。
昨夜、緊急の記者会見を行ったアメリカのトランプ大統領。過激派組織イスラム国の最高指導者バグダリー容疑者が死亡したと発表しました。世界ははるかに安全になったとトランプ大統領は成果を強調していますが、今後への影響は。
The captain did right by us once. Now it's the board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I read. Push on, Mardat.
Somebody clean up this mess. Open fire!
That's how it's done, Captain.
Dump the bodies in the lake.
Here we go.
That's the last of them.
Pathetic!
組織の顔を失うことは求心力の低下につながるため、イスラム国にとって大きな打撃となるのは間違いありません。一方で依然として戦闘員も資金も潤沢だとの報告もあり、このまま衰退の一途をたどるのか慎重に見極める必要があります。トランプ大統領は今回の成果を強調していますが、今後イスラム国の支持者による報復テロも予想され、各国が警戒を強めています。
国
The captain did right by us once. Now it's ours. The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I breathe. Push on, Mardash.
Dump the bodies for the rest of those.
Walking into a prison. They lock me up, I'm liable to kill everyone trying to get back out.
Getting in's one thing. Let's just hope we're able to get out again. Nice of them to leave us a few options. Nice and easy. Don't mess with us. Will clean this up, right?
どうせ最後だろうしと思っていろいろ考えていたのだが、
で
さて兵器の準備もできたし、
Ford, take me. I thought the chasm outside Stellar Bay was deep. This? This makes me nauseous.
Break him down!
Don't mess with us!
なんてこった。なんてこった。
総選挙を求める動議が採決される予定で、先行きは依然不透明です。菅原前経済産業大臣が辞任したことについて、菅官房長官が今日、政府与党協議会で陳謝しました。菅原前大臣は金曜日に協議会で菅ご迷惑をおかけしたお詫び申し上げると陳謝しました。その上で政府としてより一層緊張感を持って取り組むと述べました。
あれどれだ。
一方、自民党の二階幹事長は
ショックキャノンじゃなくて、あ、ないか。
ことはないとの考えを示しました。また、菅原氏の議員辞職の必要性については、党内でも十分相談していきたいと述べるにとどめました。萩生田文部科学大臣は、来年度から大学入試の新たな共通テストで導入される英語の民間試験をめぐり、自分の身の丈に合わせて頑張ってもらえればなどと発言したことについて、説明不足だったとして謝罪しました。もしかしたらあるかもしれないけれど、そこは自分の身の丈に合わせて頑張ってもらえればなどと発言していました。萩生田大臣は今日、説明不足だったとしてこの発言について謝罪しました。
被験者の皆さんに不安や不快な思いを与えかねない説明不足な発言であったと考えておりまして、改めてこれを込めて受験生に寄り添って環境を良くしていくために頑張っていきたいと述べました。一方、野党側からは萩生田大臣の責任を追及する
Standing.
Ooh.
I'm working as fast as I can, all right? If y'all would quit bothering me, I'd get this done sooner. Fixing the FPS system. FPS system. It's redundant, Melody. Can you just let me work? I'm almost done. Forced pacification system. If the prisoners riot, we gas them. It went a little haywire after the last deployment, so here I am. Anyway, I need to finish this, so get out of here, will you? What?
Ah. マジか。なぜ パスワードがボアストになったんだ。
Guess we're going up.
Let's go, troops. Stellar Base counting on us.
ちょっと待って、こんなもの使えねえじゃん。マジか。行いが帰ってきてる瞬間だよ。ある意味熱っ。
We're done here.
Asshole! Let's do this. Sorry, can see me now. Looks like your bath's at an end.
どんな足のちぎれ方したらこうなるんだ。ちょっと待って、こっちは。ああ、保管庫ね。いや、トラッシュと書いてあるからゴミ捨て場か。なんてこった。時々弾が詰まってねえか、このショックキャノン。ちゃんとしてるはずなのに、なんか電気がこうベルルルルって出る感じがしねえのよね。フレームソラーの方がいいんじゃないかって気がしてきた。まあいいよ。これはね、仕方ない。
They'll never see us.
なんだっけ。ああ、そうだ。
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. Ah, and the wayward doctor. Are you about done with your escapades? We have faces that need lifting, after all.
These days, I'm more interested in breaking them. Wouldn't mind taking a swing at yours.
Ah, I knew I smelled Monarch when you lot walked in. The stench of sulfur, depression, and desperate bravado is unmistakable.
Keep talking, and you'll be smelling iron. Ain't nobody so important I won't put a bullet in.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens. My word! You've correctly identified the most recognizable man in the colony. Remarkable. It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thankfully, he's our insane person now. A proper company man. Yes, he is an extraordinarily obstinate fellow, isn't he? Fine, he isn't working for us per se. Semantics, he'll come around. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. It's a miracle. Oh yes, go on, wake them up, add more mouths to feed. That'll solve our starvation problems. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through, but it's done. It's over. Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought about not fucking up our entire society?
At least that means someone's recognizing our work.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and recovery. You're just getting in the way. If I and my people can ride it out in luxury and happiness, yes, I would. I don't know if you've noticed, Captain, but Halcyon's pretty much a lost cause. You have? Is that what you were doing at the Ministry? Look, I'm not an unreasonable man. If you manage to storm the castle, as it were, and make it out of here with Phineas alive, I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone to sell the rest of the board on your plan.
こうか。
Incoming!
I am... All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So, get in there and... fight!
Company ammo.
MSI の協力も取り付けられたとはな。すごいな、キャプテン。マジで行いが返ってきてる。
Covering you! Here we go! Down they go!
Serves you right, dissident.
ああ、表。
Guess this is it, huh?
Take a breath now, folks. Once we're up there, I suspect we ain't gonna have time to stop shooting.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. You've been working with Dr. Wells from the beginning. When we moved to arrest him, he was prepared. I lost good soldiers in the attempt. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. Do you imagine you're leading some grand revolutionary army? The iconoclasts and MSI have put aside their differences and attacked the prison together. I never imagined such a thing would be possible. But here we are. You're nothing but a rabble-rouser. I'm going to put an end to your little rebellion, and then I'm going to have you and your associates arrested. You make a nuanced and compelling argument. Here's my rebuttal. No. Dr. Wells is being held in my custody. His cooperation will prove invaluable, even if I have to beat it out of him. All that's left to do is put down this riot arrest you, and then get on with the bloody business of saving this colony. Fair enough. I'm giving you exactly one chance to parley with me. Yes, I'm quite aware of your brazen act of corporate vandalism. By the way, those test subjects you killed, they died in agony. My scientists assure me they can recover the data you've destroyed. You've succeeded in temporarily delaying our research. Nothing more. That isn't true. It can't be. You're trying to manipulate me. That experiment was absolutely essential to the program. My scientists assured me they were close to a breakthrough. They gave me their word. You're telling the truth, aren't you? My scientists have been chasing their tails for years and calling it progress. We're going to have to start all over again. All that research, all those experiments, you've set us back decades. You were always an unknown variable. I tried to recruit you, but you threw your lot in with that madman, Phineas Wells. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it and don't worry. I will inform Dr. Wells that you died heroically, or...
マジか。マジで。あー、ロボット立ちね。
Here we go.
なかなかあのロボット強えな。ねじれた照明が好きなのかな。
Why won't you just die? Someone else will clean this up, right? Get me out of here.
さて出した。
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind. And I can't begin to thank you enough.
けなしてんだかわからねえセリフ使いやがって。
I'm all right, thanks to you. Akande wanted my cooperation. I'm quite sure she would have beaten it out of me if you hadn't arrived. You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated.
Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years.
なんだって?
There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
They haven't exactly been hands-on around here anyway. So there's one less rubber stamp to worry about.
Earth is humanity's home planet, Miss Fenhill. The psychological effects of losing our original home will be devastating.
So we've got to make do on our own. Seems to me that'll make us stronger in the end anyhow.
You're quite right. We've got no choice but to make do on our own. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own.
ある意味ゼロからのスタートか。
Yes, yes, certainly. I'll help however I can. I don't know what happened, but something must have gone horribly wrong. I don't know why Earth's gone silent. I don't even know if Earth exists anymore. We have no connection back to Earth, and return is likely impossible. We're completely alone out here. I heard it from Akande herself. She tried to pressure me into joining her side, you see. Tried to make me realize that all hope is lost, and that we are alone. She was half right. We are alone, and we're going to have to fend for ourselves, because there's no telling what's happened to Earth. You might have heard of the Earth Directorate's frigate. Half the colony's entire military was on that ship. They were returning to Earth when they vanished without a trace. That was 2 years ago. We haven't heard a word from them since. Whatever happened to Earth likely happened to them. Yes, Akande mentioned as much. Earth hasn't sent us a single message in 3 years. No one knows why. Akande had kept the truth to herself, perhaps with good reason. Can you imagine what would have happened if word got out? We'd have utter pandemonium. Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed, including me. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds, and then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us? The chairman? I don't know why you let that heartless creature live, but I'll have to trust your judgment. You're the best thing to ever happen to Halcyon. If you want to take it upon yourself to lead this colony, you have my support. We're not a colony any longer, are we? Our last connection to Earth has been severed, and so we have been set free. Our future is uncertain, and no one knows what tomorrow holds. Exciting, isn't it?
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Between MSI's worker-centric policies and the iconoclast's manpower, Sanjar and Zora were able to rally many of the Terra 2 townships to their cause. MSI's workforce swelled, and the iconoclasts enjoyed a significant surge in their ranks. The board was too distracted by infighting and internal politics to stop MSI from becoming a powerful corporation and a refuge for townships that might have fallen through the cracks. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if a replacement could keep the Sublight family together. The collapse of Edgewater left its workers bereft of any purpose in life. Most of them made their way to Adelaide McDevitt's camp, hoping to ingratiate themselves into her favor. Adelaide accepted only a few to her community. The rest were turned away and likely died of starvation. Nevertheless, Adelaide's camp grew into a well-established town. Adelaide McDevitt refused to cooperate with the ongoing effort to save Halcyon from collapse. A sympathetic deserter stole a copy of her research and delivered it to the Hope's scientists. It is unclear how useful Adelaide's research was. An optimistic estimate suggests her work may have bought Halcyon another few years of survival. Adelaide would never know. She died that winter. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers, schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Your influence further cemented Ellie's perspective. She understood she could never truly rely on others, so she set about making sure she wouldn't have to. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She enjoyed a long and infamous career running missions across the system. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless, unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself. Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Though Parvati eventually grew comfortable aboard the Unreliable, she never quite came out of her shell. She seemed to prefer the company of Ada to the crew, and she could often be found neck-deep in cables and grease, telling Ada funny stories from her childhood. While the colony fell into chaos, she found an island of relative peace with Ada, and they formed an unusual bond. She decided to remain aboard the Unreliable permanently as its chief and sole engineer. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He eventually came to terms with his own past and was able to forgive the mistakes of his younger self by devoting his remaining years to serving the colony. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. In the end, Dr. Wells was able to save every scientist and engineer aboard the Hope. Over the next decade, nearly all of the Hope's remaining colonists were successfully revived. Halcyon saw a period of rapid technological and scientific advancement. Breakthroughs in dietary supplements saved the colony from starvation. Geoengineering projects and social reforms began to change the structure and character of the colony. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Today, Halcyon has stabilized. The people of the colony work hard to adapt to their new circumstances. Nearby colonies send aid and supplies. Life will never be easy in Halcyon, but for the first time in its history, there exists a sense of real, genuine hope about the future. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? You brought an end to the riot on Tartarus and partnered with Chairman Rockwell to run the colony together. As Halcyon looked toward the future, you remained a constant presence in the colony's administration. You were never weighed down by bureaucracy, and you never had to dirty your hands with politics. You had people who did that for you. By your influence, Halcyon survived the turbulent years that were to follow. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
いやー、いい話だな。こっちルートなんて言い方をしていいのかわからないけど、まあ彼も科学者を助けることができたわけだし、めでたしめでたしって感じで俺は良かったかな。次回は11月頃企画しているイベントで皆さんとお会いしたいと思います。まあハードラインでちょっとねみんなと遊ぶだけなんだけど、よかったらそっちを見てくれるといいかなと思ってます。 では長らく、お付き合いいただきありがとうございました。次はデスストランディングぐらいかな。難敵もしてますので、まだその頃よかったらお付き合いいただけるとありがたいです。本日のここで最後にしようと思います。皆様ありがとうございました。また次回も